Welcome to this episode of Eureka, and we are going to have a very enlightening, very educative conversation with Dr. Amulya Kumar Panda. He is the director of National Institute of Immunology. The time that we are living in, with the pandemic threatening us, vaccines are the bright sparks that we see around, light at the end of the tunnel. Today in this program, we are going to discuss about how our immunology works in our body, how vaccine help us to prevent the spread of diseases like COVID-19. What are the different types of vaccine? Where are we in the landscape of vaccine? When can we expect? Where are we? What are the problems in developing vaccines faster? And also, at the end, what National Institute of Immunology is contributing to the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you, sir, for being in the show. It's a very wonderful opportunity. You are heading a very important institute in these times of pandemic. We would like to know quite a lot about this virus and how it affects us and how it kicks our immunological response. Some of these things we will ask you some questions and then understand before we get into the vaccines and the landscape of vaccine. So let me start with a very simple question that suppose if I am get infected with the virus, how does my body respond?
Okay. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to explain. I think before I answer, let me tell you one good thing now. Everybody know in this country or world what is immunology and immunity. That's a good point. But let me tell you the fundamental answer to immunity is a system in the body which do two things. Please remember, it do two things. It differentiates between self and non-self. It
Okay.
reject it accept the self, reject the non-self.
Ah,
And when the non-self come to the body, it has its capacity to react and neutralize it. Like
mhm.
some foreign element like virus, bacteria, pathogenic come, it will react and produce through its immune system. That's how immunity works. But most importantly, the immunity also take care of our self antigen. The cells, the organelles which are in the body, it protects them because it cannot react against them. So that beauty of immunity is one part. It protects ourself, our self system, but reject the outsider. That's very fundamental way. It's like our country. We protect our people, but we kill or attack to the invaders. As
Ah,
simple as that. And let me tell you a very simple way. Nowadays, you must have been hearing that there are T cell response, there are B cell response, and there
yes.
are innate response. Let me
Uh-huh.
give a very simple analogy. In a country like you want to protect our people, our
Mm.
army is our B cell response. They
Okay.
protect us from external
Mm.
aggression. So, if you want to say B cell antibody, it's our army.
Okay.
T cell is our internal mechanism.
Ah,
That's our police.
ah.
So it's like B cell is army, T cell is police. They take
Okay.
care of the internal thing. Army takes care of the external aggression. But
Mhm.
more than that, you must be hearing something about innate immunity nowadays.
Yes, yes.
Innate immunity is our culture, our system, our governance,
Mm.
which is part of our living. The
Mhm.
way we grow, the way we follow rules, the way
Okay.
you follow our democratic rule, that is
Ah,
innate to us. In
ah.
fact, we have forgotten. If you
Mm.
see, if you remember our great grandmothers or grandfathers' advice, who has followed them, they will be 100% protected because we
Mhm.
have because the innate immunity or the herd immunity what you think of develops from the time of you take bath even in the fetus and
Mhm.
mostly in the childhood. By the time you reach adolescence, it's more or less developed. So
Mm.
these three things of immune system, the innate is part of us, like
Okay.
you are innate to it, like it is a part of us. That is our culture, food habits, environment, rule, regulation, healthcare system. But then B cell, T cells are, as I told you, like police and our army.
Very,
So
very, very,
any
very interesting way you've explained. I mean, it is now making sense. So, the assumption is that suppose if a virus enters our body, As long as it is in the, let's say, the bloodstream, the B cells take care of it. If it enters the cell, then the T cells take care of the infected cells.
No,
Roughly,
no,
that's
no.
what you can
No,
understand,
no.
right?
As I showed you, first is innate.
Ah,
Innate is our outside defense, our
mm,
skin, our saliva, our mucus. So it's like anybody want to enter your home,
mm,
he knows, oh, this guy is very powerful. Don't enter and do steal there. He will catch you. So that fear is innate immunity. If at all the virus or pathogenic organism crosses our body, enter our body, the first is the adaptive immunity, the B cells.
mm, mm,
What they do is they produce antibody, and because they are outside, the B cells produce antibody. Antibody has the mechanism, and they kill or neutralize the virus or
mm.
bacteria. If they are incapable of doing, then the virus enter the cell, and when virus enter the cell, it become intracellular.
Mm, 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 mm.
As I told you, intracellular internal politics is taken, internal law and order is taken care by our police force.
Yeah.
They know our chowkidar, they know the each and everything in the society. When by bypassing the innate immunity, bypassing the B cell and antibody response, if the virus is so dangerous, it has entered our cell and started utilizing our mechanism of replication, then the T cell get activated.
Okay.
What they do? Because you please remember, bacteria, many pathogenics are intracellular, like
Ah,
tuberculosis or
ah,
malaria parasite. Viruses are all intracellular, you know.
ah.
So there you have to kill the infected cell.
Okay. Mm,
So the T cell has two jobs. As I told you, it differentiates between self and non-self. So the T cell has to differentiate which is infected cell, which is non-infected cell, and it has to kill the infected cell. That's why the T cell response is important. That's what we're
See,
talking.
one more word that we keep hearing when we talk about immunity and vaccine is something called antigen and antibody.
Yeah,
So,
that's what I'm
what is
telling.
this antigen and what is this antibody?
See, any pathogenic organism which has a capability to raise an immune response, because
Mm,
we are a thermodynamically homeostatic system, the life.
mm,
Everything is controlled, everything is going. We eat, there is a respiratory system, there is thing, everything systematically go. We evolve like that. The antigen is a substance which interfere in our immune system.
okay.
Mostly it is a protein, but
Mm,
nowadays it has become a carbohydrate, it has become a DNA, it has become a RNA, it can be cell. So that is antigen. When an antigen or a pathogenic substance enter the cells, the first B cell response is produce antibody. So
mm,
antibody is just like locking the antigen. What
okay.
antibody does is it neutralizes. It
Mm,
will make cell, it will either neutralize the antigen, it will phagocyte the antigen into macrophage and degrade. So there are many other ways. So antibody is the opposite of antigen, which neutralize the antigen. So and tell you, most successful vaccines, most of them,
mm, 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 mm.
works on generation of neutralizing antibody. See, this antigen antibody is very, very specific. That's why you must be hearing nowadays a word called, do you have neutralizing titer
Uh-huh.
antibody?
Uh-huh.
See, it's like you have antigen. Antigen is a protein, and protein has many conformations. So it will produce many antibody having different conformation, but
Uh-huh.
all of them may or may not be required. See, each conformation involves 6 to 7 amino acid. So you have a if you have a 100 amino acid antigen, you will
Mm,
get 15 type of antibody. So out
uh-huh.
of the 15, which is more important, which neutralize, that
Mm,
is neutralizing antibody. For example, I tell you, in coronavirus, of course, who don't know much, it is 7 months old. Many people think this RBD, the receptor binding domain, is the neutralizing. If you could neutralize it in the receptor binding domain, it will stop entering the virus. So
uh-huh.
antibodies are things which neutralize antigen, and they are Y-shaped. If you look our NII logo, which is
Mm,
behind, it's
yeah.
Y. So
Mm,
antigen is in Y. It has light chain, heavy chain.
mm.
This light chain, what they do, the Y capture, just like two hands, it capture the antigen, neutralize. So that is, and mostly these antibodies are glycoproteins. Antibodies are glycoprotein. They have carbohydrate as well as amino acids.
So having heard this basics, how does a vaccine work? I mean, how does when an infection comes, okay, our immune system is kick started, the neutralizing antibody is produced, the right kind of T cells are produced. But when you are vaccinated, how this adaptive immunity gets generated.
Yeah. Actually, in general, the vaccination concept started with Jenner as well as Louis Pasteur. So, suppose you have a toxin, suppose you have diphtheria toxin. That cause diphtheria, but the vaccine against diphtheria toxin is take the diphtheria toxin, denature its toxicity, make it a toxoid or inject. Suppose a cholera, you get cholera because of Vibrio cholera, you kill Vibrio cholera and immunize. So the epitopes in the surface are there, but they are not infective. So when you immunize the dead organism, what it does, because of its surface characteristics, it presents the antigen, and when the neutralizing antibody come, they are circulating. And when the cholera goes, it neutralizes. Let me tell you two things. For a successful vaccine, there should be two things very important. One, it should make a neutralizing antibody, and number two, the most important, it must produce memory antibody because you take vaccine only once. See, like there are reports, the way smallpox was eradicated, because there are reports people have taken the antibody of a person for 60 years. And in single dose, the antibody stay for 60 years. See, don't you think the world will be a beautiful place? Suppose you develop a vaccine which has memory for tuberculosis, for malaria, for HIV. Give one shot and be free. That is the ideal world. We have shown with measles, we have shown with smallpox, we have shown with polio, but every pathogen is different. We need to understand. But coming back, two fundamental requirements. It should give neutralizing antibody and it should have memory. Otherwise, the difference between drug and vaccine is you feel sick, you take drug. Like you get cough and cold every 3 months. But you take vaccine before and you take vaccine only once. So unless you have memory, you cannot give it people to every year. That is one beauty thing.
That's a very, very interesting point, and this is where we'll take a very short break. After the break, we'll continue this Eureka. Keep watching Eureka. After this break, we'll continue this very interesting, very exciting conversation. Back to Eureka, we are having a very wonderful, very exciting conversation with Dr. Amulya Kumar Panda. He is the director of National Institute of Immunology, and I don't need to say that in these times of pandemic, immunology and vaccine are most discussed topic. Before the break, he was explaining how vaccine can kick our adaptive immunity. Something very similar to, for example, when you have a cow and the cow's calf is not there, you make a dummy cow and still the cow continues to give milk. It's something like that. You inject some part of the virus into your body that is able to kickstart the adaptive immunity. The T cell, B cells are activated, the antibody is produced, and he was also pointing out that in vaccine, one of the important aspects that we should notice is it able to have immunological memory. That was a very important point that he was pointing out. So it was a very, very interesting conversation we had before the break. So let me go forward. Now people are talking about various kinds of tests for vaccine before it can be administered. One, they say that many vaccines have successfully completed preclinical trial. What does you mean by when you say preclinical trial?
Okay, before I go to trials, let me explain you why these trials are important. Please remember, vaccine is always given to a healthy person, and most of the time to a baby who has not matured biologically or immunologically. And vaccine goes and work for the whole lifelong. So the safety is, there is no way you can take care of the safety. It may not do some things, you never know. It may affect the next generation. Suppose you take a vaccine and something has happened and suddenly they become deaf or blind. So these studies are very, very essential. And safety is utmost, because you are giving, because of the corona, we now wanted to give it to aged people, old people, others. But basically, if you see, all are vaccinated when you are kids, and kid is not grown. So safety is very, very important. You simply cannot. And please remember, you take only once, and you are giving a biologicals, right? That's why these clinical trials are very, very important. So first, suppose I develop a vaccine, I got the antigen, I know this is the disease-causing organism or motive, I isolate, purify, or express it, I got that point. See, the first thing is preclinical. That means, is the vaccine immunogenic? It may not be neutralizing. First, immunogenic means is it producing antibody?
Okay.
And remember, there are three things coming. Vaccine is not, the antigen is not only the candidate. Previously, 40, 50 years back when the vaccine started, we were telling wholesale vaccines. They are all live killed or live attenuated, not live killed vaccine or live attenuated vaccine. So we forgot that time, apart from the antigen, the other cellular parameters were also important. When the new biology come, we thought only this antigen motif will work, but no. Then started finding the role of adjuvant, the toll-like receptors, other things become important. So you need to know whether the molecule which you have discussed or the pathogenic sequence or the part of the virus or bacteria, is it immunogenic or not? So the best way to know that, you immunize to an animal with an adjuvant, mostly a mice, and see is it giving antibody. That is the first question. That is preclinical evaluation. That primarily we do in a research organization. We have no interest of going to a industry. We want to do study immunology, how the antigen is present, process, things like that. We are happy with that. But if you intend to make it a vaccine for commercial purpose, you need to evaluate this vaccine into different animals.
Okay.
This is a standard, a small and big. I don't want to go to detail. It may be a mice or a dog. If you can do a monkey, nothing like that. Because basically you want to take different type of animals so that you could see that in different type of animals. See, a mice lives 6 months. A rat lives 1.5 years. A monkey lives 12 years. But we have to take vaccinated for lifelong.
Yeah.
So if you want to simulate, you need different animals. So when you get those antibody immunogenicity, that is preclinical. Like my antigen is immunogenic. That means it has potential to produce neutralizing antibody. Then once the antibody is there, you characterize the antibody T cell response. Once you are sure that the stuff you are making is antigenic, immunogenic, with all sort of animal model, your preclinical data is ready. So
sir, once your preclinical data is ready, and suppose your vaccine candidate is effective, so why we then do 3 human clinical trial? Why can't we just do 1 clinical trial and then
I'm coming to that. As I told you, vaccine is always given to a healthy individual. Safety is important, efficacy is important, and durability is important. So once the preclinical data is there, you start phase 1, phase 2, phase 2. There is phase 4 also. So phase 1 is for small amount of people to see is it safe. Like you inject, are you getting fever? Are you getting blood pressure high? Are you getting some sort of stroke? Or are you getting some sort of unwanted physiological reaction? That is because you never know. You are taking a biological stuff from bacteria, virus. Suppose in case it goes and go and hit some receptor in brain, you start doing something else. So first phase 1 trial is safety.
Okay.
So you inject, you look for antibody obviously in human, but first is there any unwanted thing happening? Is your blood pressure going high? Is your leukocyte count is going high? There are many biological parameters we do things. So that is phase 1. Once you know, as I told you, the first requirement, obviously we are making vaccine means it is effective. The first is safety because it's a biological thing. That is phase 1. That takes months, right? Obviously, that takes months. Yeah. Once you make it is safe, it is working. The second is phase 2. You do different, use slightly higher number of human beings. But here you fix the dose.
Okay.
That is important. See, a body will react to a particular thing. Like, there are human microdosing. You take small amount of poison, nothing will happen. But if you take a heavy dose, you are collapsed.
Yeah.
So what is that dose to give you optimum immune response? If you give more, huge amount of immune response will make, nowadays they are telling cytokine storm, maybe some pathological thing. And low amount will not have. So you should know what dose.
Is the correct amount of dosage?
Dose and adjuvant, and probably you will see a age what age these people has to give, whether you have to give it in a particular endemic people. I mean, you need to do that experiment. But phase 2 is mostly dose response study,
Okay.
right? Then once you know this is the dose, it is cutting across different type of people, you go for a large scale phase 3 trial where you take huge number of people, maybe thousands,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to take very carefully. The protocols are very stringent.
Okay.
Whom to take, whom not to take. I tell you, for corona, you must be hearing there are 25% already seropositive. That means antibody is already there.
Yeah.
If you give him vaccine, what you are looking for?
Yes.
Nothing.
Yes.
Something like somebody has some other problem. So it differs from disease to disease. So the phase 3 trial is across the population, and most of the time you can do a challenge experiment or in an endemic place where this is, can it be successful? Like I tell you, in NI we have developed a leprosy vaccine which is in the market.
Yeah.
And in early 90s, we did clinical trial near Kanpur, which
Mm-hmm.
was endemic to leprosy.
Okay.
So the best, it's like poop of pudding is in eating. You apply it at a place where it is endemic. Can you recover there? That's the greatest chance. So that is phase 3. Once you get into, see, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 takes time. You have to recruit people, you have to group them, immunize them, look for memory, means 6 to 8 months tighter,
Okay.
right? So phase 3 will take 1 year. If you are in real desperation, you can maybe reduce your phase 3, but it takes years. Once you get phase 3 data, you need to analyze. It's not everything is successful. You should analyze what are the pros and cons. And many times the phase 3 trial fails
Okay.
because of unwanted dose, unwanted population, genetic diversity, susceptibility, many things. That's why sometimes you do a phase 4, which is pharmacovigilance. You know it is working, but there is some problem, but you release the vaccine with rigorous quality control, monitoring what is happening to the vaccinated people.
Okay.
So unless this phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, 4 are complete, the drug controller general or anybody you will not like. And again, as I told you, it it has to see what is happening to the next generation.
Yeah.
Teratology study, you can do it in mice and monkeys, but to know. But these are the things. That's why the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 takes, because the safety is of utmost
Very,
importance.
very, very. Sir, now let's come to the novel
And
corona.
let me tell you before I finish, a normal vaccine, I tell you, like a rotavirus vaccine, which was developed by Merck, it took 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
Not that all vaccine takes 12 years. We have a example. This mumps vaccine we developed in 4 years.
Uh-huh.
See, I tell you, one beautiful thing has happened. From identifying a antigen and to the human injection takes 6 years normally. But
Okay.
look, the way science and technology has developed during Corona, the day the virus was noted in December, we started human trial in April. In
Yeah.
6 months, we could condense. That's initial 6 year. Initial 6 year is development, but the next 6 year is phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Maybe you can combine, but at least a year or two.
That's a.
So till
Sir,
now,
uh,
the fastest vaccine developed is mumps, 4 year. Maybe corona will take at least 2 year, because with science and technology you have developed of sequencing, doing the immunogenicity and many things. Please go ahead.
so now about the novel coronavirus, there are close to about 190 vaccines which are being developed in different places. What is the landscape? How many of them are in advanced stages? What is the current scenario?
Okay. Sorry. See, if you see, there are 170 or 180, and uh, if you see, there are four of them are in advanced stage. Four of
Ah,
them. In fact, one wholesale vaccine, one DNA vaccine, one RNA vaccine, and one viral vector-based vaccine of Oxford. And in fact, if you see last month, all of them published, one published in Nature, one in Lancet, one in New England of Journal of Medicine, one in Science. So quality wise, they are coming. The way they are going, Generally, there should be only one vaccine for one disease. But here we have a situation, there are 180 competing. I hope something one will come. We may have one or two different vaccine, but the way things are working, something will come because these are new platform we are checking, and we may end up having some vaccines at the end of the year.
Sir, that's a very nice thing, and we don't have much time. There is only about 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes available. So I want to ask you this question because I think as a director of National Institute of Immunology, what is it that your institute is majorly doing in this COVID-19 time to help India fight COVID-19 pandemic?
See, because we are National Institute of Immunology, we must develop our own vaccine, isn't it? And in fact, when the pandemic came, we are part of the system. We have been called by the Prime Minister's office. In fact, all my DBT institutes were called. We have given different tasks. Somebody was sequencing, somebody was analyzing the virus. Recently, we published 1200 virus sequence by DBT.
Yeah.
That's a great achievement. Who could say that the UN virus has mutated enough and maybe it has become mild. Some people are making antibody. We have been given the task of making a new vaccine. In fact, if you see, we are not prepared. Tell you very frankly, we never worked in coronavirus. It was new. So, given that task, our one of the objective area is we have been developing a peptide-based vaccine. That's entirely new, and we keep reporting every week to the Prime Minister office what is our progress. So we have made the vaccine. Now we are in animal. We are in preclinical because you must understand. Within 3 months, we could make the vaccine with adjuvant and delivery system. It's in preclinical. We are doing all these things in our animal house, and the initial results are okay. But we'll look for the good antibody titers only after 28 days. It comes. So we are looking. So that is one. We are developing a pseudovirus assay facility so that any vaccine come, somebody has to analyze whether he is doing right or wrong.
Okay.
So we should have. So Government of India has assigned us to develop a pseudovirus facility here to evaluate in the eventuality we develop that facility. Will be evaluate whether the Oxford vaccine is showing good, or I along with some of colleagues of my different institutes are doing. We are also doing a little bit about diagnostic antibody. We are also purifying plasma, but these are on a different stage. And please remember, this is only 3-4 months, and we cannot go to a human immediately unless you are sure about the safety and efficacy. So we are doing multiple things, and the most important thing we are also doing is I take credit of saying I have the best animal house facility in the country. We have a mice facility, we have big animal facility, we have a monkey facility also. So we are making
very
those
interesting,
facilities.
like how your institution, the facilities in your institution can facilitate not only some vaccines which are developed in India, but also if we have to accept some vaccine developed elsewhere, if they have to be tested, then your institution is a source which will be able to authenticate such vaccines for use in India, will play a very important part. For want of time, we may have to end our conversation here, but it was a very wonderful, very educative, very enlightening, and also very hopeful, like the point that you made, that vaccines would be arriving very soon. Maybe not tomorrow, but then almost within reasonable time. Thank you for being with us in the show. It was a very, very wonderful opportunity. Thank you for watching this program. Keep watching Eureka. We'll come back with another conversation next week, same time.